know, this summer's been fine so far. It's been pretty rainy and gloomy, but now it's being a bitch again, i.e. warm and sunny. This is fully just me slowly easing into Halloween content. Fellow Sunday testers, my name's Tommy. Welcome to the System Error. Barbie seems to have a sort of resurgence. I think it's because of that movie, Oppenheimer. I can proudly say I am like other girls. Loved Barbies when I was younger. By slowly easing into Halloween content, I mean taking Barbie and introducing her into the Addams family with a twist. I fully intended to just make the iconic black dress from the Tim Burton TV show and put Barbie into that. Knew I wouldn't have the right fabric for this, but I was going through a bunch of my stashes anyway just to see what I do have, and I came across this stuff, which thanks to that I am now not the palest thing in front of this camera anymore. Tell me this isn't giving Barbie with like the holographic looking stripes. It already looks like it should have been a Barbie garment in the first place. Not at all Wednesday Addams, but make an alternate universe version of the black dress, inverted colors. Guess in a way I'm turning Barbie into her like ancestor from the show. What was her name again? You know, the one that just looks like Wednesday Addams dipped in a lot of chalk. Also, because it's white, I was thinking maybe we do some alterations and turn it into a wedding dress. Just throwing out ideas at this point. Also, I won't have to like order any fabric that I will not need. Like 90% of Barbie dresses do not need that much fabric, let me tell you. I'm a seasoned veteran in that field. In a way, this is just going back to my roots. First order of the day is definitely finding my old Barbies. I know they're all together in a box somewhere. Absolutely no idea where that box is. I'll be back in a few hours. If I'm not, send someone, because I've gotten lost in the basement. Just in case Pennywise is the one that finds me there, I think I could use some assistance. So, BRB. Those were not at all where I thought they would be, so the clown almost got me. But I lived. I haven't seen those in some years. Actually quite excited. Holy shit. More than I remember? Ugh. Okay, whatever they put in their hair gets a bit crunchy after a while. If this one still lights up, I'm gonna scream. Oh my god, it does. Let me turn off the lights. One word, a magical. Don't think she's a candidate for this project though. Fun, but no. Transform back into a mermaid anytime. When I say I grew up in the best Barbie era, this is what I mean. Imagine being a boy at this time, having to play with bionicles. That is not the hair we're looking for. I have one with like a darker lipstick and just plain blonde hair. That should work for this. Of course, I wasn't mermaids. Like any good H2O enjoyer, you squeeze her hips and then this shit happens. This is the greatest thing. Like falling apart at the joints. Keep getting sidetracked. Why do I have so many just blonde princess Barbies? I swear I turn out alright for privileged only child. I got gifted this German knockoff version. She's fine, I guess. And I also have, I'm pretty sure, my mom's old one. Oh yeah. Just caught a whiff of 70s. That's a bunch of the little Shelleys that came with some of these. Pink and purple horse carriage. This horse. I'll tell you what this one didn't come with. A lot of the accessories that the other one had, so evidently I made my own saddle. Oh look, it's even got decoration. In case you were doubting my qualifications, what I've been looking for. This is gonna be our victim, I mean candidate. She's like the most neutral one without any wings or crowns and tiaras. Like the dark lipstick. Might have been like the last Barbie I got. This is the timeline. This to this and then to me now. Call it foreshadowing. I'm pretty sure I messed with these pants as well. Made them into shorts. Attempted a little distressed look. Love taking trips down memory lane. Pack these up again. As a fellow struggler, I am so sorry for all of the frizz I gave you. What do we think? If you've seen the last part of my studio makeover, which there's a good chance you haven't because it's tanked horribly. Watch it if you haven't. Thinking about like putting white shelves over here. It would be a lot of space. to put Barbies on. Just a memo for future me. To the drawing board, literally. I watch a lot of people on YouTube make clothes regularly, and I think I've tricked my brain into thinking that it's really easy and I can totally do it. I'm sorry, this is irritating the shit out of me. Did I try to give her bangs? I'm not sure the factory did that. The good thing about making clothes for Barbie is that they don't really have to hold up. I'm not worried about the sewing aspect. I'm a pretty good hand sewer. Not any other type of sewing, but I can work magic with this. Maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. But in terms of like, you know, patterns and stuff, this is gonna be interesting. What a lot of the Halloween costume ones get wrong, I think, is that they make like these tulle, is that how you say it? Tulle? The feathery light fluffy see-through fabric. Every tier is the exact same height, which I don't think is what the original dress does at all. So not gonna do that. I obviously need the collar piece. I think that's what makes it the Wednesday Addams dress. I don't think I need to make as many layers as this dress probably has because it's a lot smaller, and put like 2 layers together for a Barbie dress, it's already quite thick. I don't know if I'm gonna do like the mesh see-through part up top. It's gonna entirely depend on whether I can find some fabric that works for this or not. What I need is maybe like a base dress, and then I can just put like the tulle layers on top. Work out in my mind which parts need to be like openable. Might need like another fabric to make that out of. Being an arts and crafts person, 80% of the time is just like going on scavenger hunts around your own house. I think if I make it a wedding dress, I want to make it like a mullet one. Gonna be a lot of like messing around. Not so much making a dress for Barbie as I am using Barbie as a dress form. Also, I really want to make a little hand to walk her to the altar. At some point during this, I'm gonna take a break from fabric and do that. Base dress. First on the agenda. Best bet is this old pillow cover, which hopefully has enough white parts that I can use. And I'm just gonna try and start with the bodice. Look up a generic bodice pattern and then mess around with it a bunch, and then we're gonna go from there. What I did, but it was definitely a lot more complicated than it absolutely had to be. Somehow I ended up doing this like trusty wrapping the Barbie or whatever object you want in cling film, and then tape. Draw on the lines and then just get your pattern out of that. Don't know what I was doing up until that point. Seriously, it's a blur. I think I'm just gonna cut out the same shapes out of the glittery fabric, put that on top. Maybe I'm gonna make the stripes on the bodice like go in a different direction than like the skirt and stuff, just to make it more interesting. Sew all of that together at once. If that ends up not fitting, I am gonna throw a fit. Stole a dress from another Barbie for like reference and stuff, and that's been bloody useless. Black upper part with like straps, and then the ruffles are just connected to the mesh and not the straps, but I'm just gonna attach the ruffles to the straps. I've also given myself some leeway on the back, do the classic Barbie Velcro, at least for the bodice. I've also run a quick little test on this little square. This stuff melts really well along the edges, so I won't have to hem all of the ruffles, and it's not gonna come apart. Yes! Probably because of like the holographic stuff in there, because that's 100% just pure plastic, a bunch of tulle, and every time I say tulle, I can't pronounce non-English words in an English way. Trying harder on the English words already. Like I'm saying tool, you know, T-O-O-L.
Watch me, like, it felt weird because I was like wearing the mask. I do not have my key.
So the base for the bodice is done, and I'm honestly over the moon with that. So I've attached all of these together and then went along the top, and I flambéed some of these edges to avoid fraying. Maybe a little too much in places. This is overkill, and I totally should have just used the lighter. Don't try this at home, kids. Yeah. I still need to make the straps for it. Try just a full circle skirt first, And in case that's like too much swoosh or volume, I'm gonna take out like a quarter and then see how that is. You're gonna see like the inside from the front, and it's just gonna be like the plain pillowcase fabric, and I don't know if I'm gonna like that. I'm gonna just cut that and see what happens. I also now brought in actual fabric scissors, which has proven to be very helpful. Nah. I've added some darts to the skirt. That seemed like the right call, but then again, I don't know what I'm doing. Put her hair up so it's out of the way. Don't worry about it. So like the first layer of ruffle. And then to that, I'm gonna need to attach like another part so that goes out further. And I think the right way to do this is just to have like this part be like longer and like more circumference, and just ruffle it more than this one, and then that should just do it. I don't know. This much should probably be like Velcro and openable. I mean, she's Barbie, so you gotta be able to undress her everywhere. In hindsight, that line is a bit weird in a song about a children's toy, isn't it? About to get into the ruffles. Every day I'm ruffling. Welcome to another episode of I think I'm fucked. I think I'm gonna have to do more sewing on the ruffles than I thought I would. I've tried to cheat my way through it with like slowly melting it to bits and pieces. Also, I didn't really think about that. I have to cut straight strips basically to have the stripes all point in the same direction. I did have like a piece that I just gathered in the easiest way that I know how to, just like go up and down with the string and then just pull the fabric a bit tighter. Can do that also for some of the underlayers, but it's just gonna be so goddamn bulky if I attach that to her waist. I'm lucky thinking of just throwing the underskirt with all the darts I put in it out and remaking it. I don't know if that's actually gonna make anything better, but I don't know. I'm not getting anywhere with the ruffles, and now my brain has tricked me into thinking that maybe the base is the problem. It might be the problem, but I'm not sure yet, so I don't know if it's worth abandoning the base. You feel? Scratch all of that from the protocol, please. Yesterday was a bit of a disaster day, not gonna lie. I guess those just happen every once in a while. I was working on this all day, and what did it amount to? Fuck all. In fact, somehow I've made it worse because now the skirt doesn't fit anymore. It's not the darts. I don't know what I did, because after the darts, I like held it up and it worked fine, and I don't know what happened since. New game plan. I brought in my old Barbie clothes, and I'm just gonna pick out a random skirt and just copy that one exactly, because I cannot be bothered to think about this anymore. And I've tried to wrap my head around how I'm gonna do the ruffles and all that. I'm just working at too small of a scale here. 2 main layers of ruffles in the original dress. The layers in and of themselves are like tiered, so they go out, but there's not like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I concentrate on this top layer and try to sew that and the base skirt on here at once, and then I can just hide everything under that. I think I'm gonna get to work on the closure first, just so I know, okay, this fits now, and I can just build on top of that. Hopefully I can redeem myself today. They smell kind of burnt. Is that normal? Alright, I've got an actual veil. Well, I'm keeping that in my back pocket. Okay, surely one of those will do. Let's get rid of all of this. I've acquired the Velcro. This one is see-through, which would be good for the collar concept. Extra strong, whatnot, so I'm almost afraid it's gonna rip the dress apart more than it's gonna hold it together every time you try to open it. So I also got just like average normal Velcro that is unfortunately black. That's the strength of this one. If it just won't do, it won't do. So then I'm gonna use this. I'm absolutely terrified of doing this and then it not working. Oh well, I've screwed up many a times already, so. Honestly, I'm just doing so much better today because yesterday the air in here was really stuffy, which I'm blaming it all on that. When summer's slowly transitioning into fall, I'm like Frankenstein being hit by lightning. We got closure now. Huh? But okay. Further updates, things are going well, but extremely slow. Which is, I think, why I fucked up the first time. I was trying to, you know, speed up the slow part. I just like fixed this layer onto this one in a few places so it wouldn't wiggle around anymore because I just could not deal with that. It's here and fixed here, and then I've just gone back and forth through that. Pulled it tight so it would like scrunch up, and then went through the main base layer again. Eventually I'll be able to connect that to the top. Honestly, the length of that thing, pure luck. Trying to see if I can get away with not attaching any Velcro to this and just sort of make it overlap. I might do like the under layer a bit longer in the back already, and then I'm gonna work on like the second one underneath this. Glad I finally figured it out, but a time lapse of this would still look like slow motion. Approximately a week in, and the base dress is finally done. Could I have done the closing part more elegantly? Sure. Am I gonna fix that? Pretty happy with it, actually. Not at all happy with how long it took me, but we're here. Close to 10 o'clock at night. I finished this today at around 1 p.m. and then I just fucked off, to be honest, because I was absolutely sick of fabric. Still am. Maybe I could make thing tonight, because then he can dry overnight. So I'm thinking air dry clay. I'm gonna try and make it in a somewhat proportional size. Bigger than the Barbie hand, definitely. It's a male hand and it's just a hand. I think he can take up a bit more room. I want it going like this so that it stands up, but also maybe could sit on our shoulder. Maybe I can make that work. I'm gonna see you bright and early in the morning. That is my absolute prime time in a day. It's surprisingly a lot easier to 3D sculpt hands than it is to draw them. It's not perfect, but hey, on that scale, pretty good. It also doesn't stand on its own. I tried, but then it looked weird, so this is the best I can do. Still needs a bit of sanding, and then I'm gonna paint it. If I ever announce a hand sewing project again, stop me. Whatever it takes. I have added this a lot longer than it absolutely had to be. Folded the fabric up here so it's like a double layer now. I attach it to the inside of the base skirt. Contrast to probably all other layers. It has the seam basically at the front. The way I did this is basically the way I did it up here. The only way I know how to. Back and forth. Pull that tight so it ruffles and then go back to the base layer. Every like centimeter or so bunches up like a lot. It doesn't really hold the ruffle, but I think I'm just gonna do not the whole circumference, but just some parts like right down the middle of the back. I'm gonna do what I did up here, pull the thread a little tighter so it gathers. As for layers, I reckon one more should do it. One more double layer. I'm gonna do basically this again and just attach it like under this first one. Gonna cover up the base skirt finally and be like the main second layer you can actually see on the original Wednesday dress. One, two, three, four, five. Two options here because I still need to finish the top layer. Sew this one onto the one underneath it. Like a strip this wide and also double it and just stitch that onto it. And then it looks like this one is made up of more layers because there's two at the bottom, you know. But it's not actually poofing up the skirt anymore because we're not trying to make like a, what are those called? Princess? Prom? Poofy dresses. I think that would be my preferred method, but I don't know, seems more daunting, so maybe I can't be asked. I've been on the British side of YouTube again. 2 weeks in. I'm almost through the entirety of the E-Boys podcast. Really and truly do not know how I ended up here again. You know, if you're ever wondering why I only ever upload once a month, this is the reason. I always think, oh, let's do this project, that'll be finished within a reasonable amount of time, and then it never is. It's down to the fact that I just, you know, I don't have like a specific way of doing things because I'm doing something else every time, and there's a lot of figuring out that needs to be done before I can like get to the actual process in and of itself sometimes, which is fun. Like, I really don't want to complain, I don't want to chew your ear off. Just feel like I need to rethink some things. Look at me. Look at the state I'm in. I have not unloaded the dishwasher in 3 days. I got shit to do. This truly is my descent into madness. Really didn't think a Barbie dress would be that difficult. If you professionally make clothes, charge more. You know, aside from that, it is actually now going somewhere, and I know I've prematurely said this many a times, but I've meant it every time, which is the sad part. I do now actually have the multiple tiers to this one layer that I didn't think I would achieve at the beginning of this. On a more positive note, you can buy Halloween in German stores now. Hey, code fucking orange. Getting better every year. I am thriving. Got this candle yesterday. I well and truly didn't intend to buy any more candles. I more so bought called Mirror of Horrors, and then, you know, this is like a mirror with like a, you know, usually the really nice packaged ones smell absolutely atrocious. This one doesn't. It just kind of smells like, yeah, I could burn that. Sorry, slight detour. I truly don't expect you to give a shit. I'm back. It's Monday. I was completely done with this project on Friday. So done, in fact, that I recorded an outro and was sure I would make this a 2-parter. I do for some projects in the future, but not for something like this, you know? Like, nothing is finished. And that's no fun. I got a finished top layer, and I honestly think the rest is doable. I'm so terrified of saying that sentence. I was very much losing it on Friday. Might or might not have been also hormonally challenged. Also, I think there was like a super blue moon last week. Every time I go a bit insane, this little fucker again. But now we're over that. Work on the tail. One more podcast episode left. Feel close to my old bony self again. Ooh. Once I'm done with the podcast. So I've done this so often now that the flamethrowers are both empty. Countless of times I've thought about bringing just a regular lighter in. Forgotten it every time. This is not at all effective. Alright, yay! That's the second layer. I've gone around here to take that in and give it more ruffle. I think it's gonna be the first one that's gonna be a bit longer in the back. I am once again coming to you live at 11 p.m. and I have finally done it. Lots of layers now, and every single one of them is shaped and cut and flambéed along the edges. I took out another lighter doing this, and I quite like it, and I'm so happy to be done with this stage. There's some parts, I'm not gonna lie, I could still take some off and like maybe shape it a little bit better or something, but I'm not gonna do that because I am on week 3 of Barbie dress. If I accidentally make it worse, which I know I will, I'm currently incapable of dealing with those consequences. Collar. I've decided to make that out of just the plain white pillowcase fabric. It's a strip down the middle going up to her neck and then the collar around the neck. No clue on how I'm gonna get that on and off. I'm thinking about just putting some wire into it and then you can just like open and close it like that. Double layers of ruffle along here. If that's too much, I can just cut out one of the layers. That's what I did in some places down here. Work smarter, not harder, because double layers are a lot easier to sew on. As for the belt, I got like a bunch of old jewelry. Surely something will work. Maybe something like this. That's black though. Peace out till after mega epic reveal. I don't think I've ever come this close to truly losing my sanity during a project. What truly brought things back around was on my penultimate day. I came in here late at night, put on some music, and just cleaned up the place. Ultimately, that cleaned up my brain as well. I was definitely worried that the outcome wouldn't be worth it throughout, but it is. Although I don't feel like making a Barbie dress ever again. That's that settled for the rest of my life. Is the back perfect? No. I just kinda like shoved the ruffles together here. I tried the wire thing, but that wouldn't work. And with my luck, it would have snapped in half before the reveal anyways. Kinda lucked out here. Took some of the pillowcase fabric, folded it in half, and glued it together. And because I was too impatient, it actually sort of dried quite stiffly already in that shape. And then I just had this tube of fabric that I attached to the front here, and then I just made a little loop up here. This side is sewn on and this side tug into the loop. Far from ideal, and you shouldn't do it too often, but it works. Listen, you gotta take shortcuts when they present themselves to you. And I was a bit stumped about what to do for the belt, but I found this stuff, ribbon, that I kept for some reason. It has like a silver stripe on both edges. So I just cut off the edge and then folded it in half. That's an actual pearl from an old necklace I no longer wear. It served me well, but now it's serving this. And then I found two see-through beads that I added, sewed it onto the back. Once I was done with all the shaping of the ruffles up here, it took a long time again. I was finally free from the shackles of this project. And then I decided to sew on buttons because I am insane. I would have regretted not doing the buttons for forever. Miniature beads mixture, and luckily I found enough of the right kind in there. Also ties in the ribbon perfectly. It did turn out in the end. Would I do some things differently now? Yeah, sure. But for my first try at this elaborate of a gown, and you know, taking into account the fact that I didn't know what I was doing 90% of the time, it turned out so great. In some ways how I imagined it, in some ways better. For the belt buckle, I briefly considered using this old earring I found, which is fish bones, because I thought it would be funny and because I'm sure Wednesday would appreciate it. Just know that I did have that great an idea. My absolute last task was painting thing, which I did. I did it at like 1 a.m. once again, but it was so fun not having to look at fabric. I was back to my natural habitat. I very much liked being there. I also only drew blood twice last couple of days. I was fine until then. Once you start just desperately trying to get things done is when you start poking yourself, which is not ideal when working with white fabric. Well, this is quite literally a product of my blood, sweat, and tears. It's becoming a tradition for me to forget about the stats, isn't it? The entirety of the E-Boys podcast, 2 latest Friendly Space Ninja videos. Once I was on that track, a lot of movie commentaries and reviews are all a blur, and a lot of them I clicked rewatch on immediately because I was like, well, I'm gonna be here a while, so might as well. 3 Sims videos, Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack about 8 times, and on my last day I watched one entire Quentin Reviews Victoria's video, which was great because those are multiple hours long, but also sad for me because those are multiple hours long. If anyone has any better techniques on how to make ruffles out of fabric, keep them to yourself, by the way. I'm gonna stop thinking about those now and go unload the dishwasher. From all of us at that system era, rock on, or whatever, and good night.